and gentlemen, Northeast Pennsylvania M3, Mike Mitchell, the man Johnny Moran. We're here at Cole Creative for NEPA Scene Podcast.
You realize we're doing a podcast. You got to calm down a little bit, right? They gave us beers. I feel like you're all jacked up and you're like
just
ready
at the
to
gym.
Like, cut a promo and stuff.
Well, I got the pre-workout. I mean, what are we going to do? We're wrestlers.
All right.
That's what wrestlers do. They're all
They're going to ask us
hyped
questions.
up.
You got to relax just a little bit. You want to crack into one?
Yeah.
All right.
Hey everybody, welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast. We're coming to you live from Cole Creative in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the founder and editor of NEPA Scene. And these gentlemen here
Can't pour a beer.
Either one of us.
just made
I'll
a mess.
admit to it.
But I would expect that because they are professional wrestlers. We're here with the man Johnny Moran and Mike Mitchell, both professional wrestlers from Scranton and fitness enthusiasts, who are also known as the tag team, the Exer Guys. They're going to be wrestling at PNC Field in Music on Saturday, August 11th, at a big-time wrestling event headlined by WWE Hall of Famers Mick Foley and Kevin Nash. So we're going to talk about wrestling on a baseball field and how exactly you accomplish that. It'll be at the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders home. And training at Backbreakers in Scranton, the Sanctuary in Hazleton, wrestling up and down the East Coast with big promotions and pro wrestling stars, the state of pro wrestling today, how they stay in shape, and much, much more. So if you are a wrestling fan, if you're a WWE fan, if you are a fan of anything that's going on here tonight, if you're an athlete, you want some fitness tips, all that good stuff. We're going to be talking about all that stuff and much more. And we want to hear from you and your questions. So if you have any questions or comments for these gentlemen, for me, or Gerard here in the background, by all means, you please let us know down below. Please leave those questions throughout the show. We will get to them at some point. And it's much more fun when you guys participate. So we would appreciate if you guys participated in our live show and enjoy what we were doing. So, and if you like it, please share. If you like the show, if you're enjoying the show, please share. And but first, before we get to the interviews, we have some beers to drink from Beer Boys in Wilkes-Barre. So they have 72 beers on tap. They provide us with these huge crawlers every week. These guys have already dug into. And tonight is their glass night, which you can get a Goose Island IPA in a free Goose Island pint glass to take home. And they also have $3.50 personal pizzas and a half-price happy hour from 9 to 11. So tomorrow is National IPA Day. I guess they have a day for everything.
We're starting it early.
Yeah.
We're definitely we wanted to start early and crack into these. One of these is the Goose Island.
It's this guy right here.
We also have a Lupin River Imperial IPA by Neat Deep, and we have the Founders All Day IPA. So we're gonna get started on those bad boys. Which ones are you guys drinking here?
I think
I have the Goose Island.
On the
It's
Founders.
fantastic.
I'm gonna start with the Goose Island.
That's
as
how
well.
you pour a
Yeah,
cup.
see, he did that pretty well.
Well, you know what it was is the first time that I did it on the show, because usually I have a co-host or somebody that helps out with that stuff.
Yeah.
I was doing the same thing, and it was foaming up, and everybody's bashing me in the comments. So I was like,
Jeez.
all right, I learned my lesson. These people are harsh, man. You know?
At least we were off air
I don't
when that
pay
happened.
attention.
Well, you have to have thick skin for what you guys do, I'd imagine.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
We also want to plug the V-Spot in Scranton, which is our other sponsor, one of the most popular bars in northeastern Pennsylvania with live entertainment every night of the week. This week they have Jordan Ramirez tonight. We just premiered three music videos of his right in a row. Guy's a machine. He has a new band called Jordan Ramirez and the Tribe that's going to play at the River Street Jazz Cafe this weekend. So you can watch those, learn all about that on our site. Alyssa Lazar's on Thursday. Local groove metal band Threat Point is on Friday. Social Distortion tribute band Reach for the Sky, who also recently released an album of original material, is going to be on Saturday. And DJ Huff is hosting karaoke on Sunday. And our NEPA Scene Rising Talent Open Mic and Talent Contest will return in just a month on Tuesday, September 4th, and run for 13 weeks. So that's coming back pretty quick. So you're going to be seeing a lot of promos from us about that. But all right, now back to you guys. So you guys were both born and raised in the Scranton area.
Correct. Yep.
And you were friends before you got into pro wrestling.
Correct.
Yes.
So how did you guys meet and become friends, and then how did you end up becoming pro wrestlers?
We met through mutual friends in college. We just met like friends that knew each other, and we just ended up talking about wrestling, and then
Two dorks who like wrestling.
yeah, basically,
Yeah.
you know, everybody else is talking about something else, and we're like, oh, you like wrestling? I like wrestling.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes. And then when we found the training center in Scranton, Backbreakers, he tried to, he looked into it and then gave me the idea that we should probably look into it and try to train.
Yeah.
I
I was the one that Googled.
Yeah, and I was iffy at first, and then we gave it a shot, and then we went through with the training, and fast forward to here. But
Yeah.
that's how we initially got started.
So how many years have you been training to do this, and when did you finally start doing matches and everything?
I would say
longer than I
probably training wise, I think it's
Year.
well, I think it differs. Like it's different for every person, but I would say within a year, maybe a little bit over a year of training, solid training, depending on how well you're picking it up through the discretion of the trainer. Some trainers will let a student debut quite sooner than most, depending on their skill or their talent. Others, it takes a lot longer, good or bad.
Yeah.
So it's different for every person, I would say. If there's a curriculum that they go by, then there's a solid amount of time. That's I wouldn't say in stone, but usually, whatever the head trainer wants the student to go through, or how long it takes them.
So does each you guys have trained in a couple different places, Backbreakers, the Sanctuary, the House of Hardcore as well. Mike, you also trained there as well. So what is the benefit of training at multiple facilities, and do they all offer something a little different, or give you different tips or pointers or whatever that you're going to use?
I was just gonna say, like, different techniques and how someone does it differently. Even if you do like seminars, I feel like a lot of the time, like, you'll pick something up from this person. It might not be every single thing they say, but you might pick up one thing.
Yeah.
And if I ever do a seminar, I always try to pick up one thing out of that whole seminar. Even if I didn't really like the seminar, there's got to be something that I could pick out of that seminar that I could take on or use.
I look at it in the aspect of, if you do train somewhere else additional to where you originally trained, additional to it, wherever else you train or do seminars or camps, it's always good to be in front of new eyes, around different students or wrestlers. This way, you know exactly where you stand possibly in wrestling as far as your level of skill or talent. Sometimes you might be better where you were before, and you go and you're around a little bit more talent, and then that helps you up your game.
Sure.
And then push you to the limit or beyond the threshold. So that's how I look at it. It's always good to be around different people. It takes you out of your comfort,
Comfort zone.
Yeah. So I think that's a very good thing to do.
So what exactly goes into the training behind the scenes, the stuff that people don't see? I'm sure part of it's fitness, and then part of it would be, maybe developing your personalities or your stage persona or whatever the case may be.
Right. Well, I first and foremost believe what you see on TV is how you should perceive yourself. You should want to be what those guys look like on TV. Obviously, tell me, what does a wrestler on TV look like?
Right. Well, I mean, usually they have a big personality. They have something that is going to grab the crowd and pull them in.
Well,
that type of
physically.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Appearance-wise.
physically, sure. Physically, they're going to be built like a brick shithouse.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like you have Triple H, you have Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
You have all those kind of guys that have a look. Randy Orton, John Cena.
Yeah.
So, like, if you want to get to that level, or you want to be looked at as a professional wrestler and taken seriously, in my mind, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you should look like that. So I haven't heavily tell people to work out and lift and try to look like those guys on TV, and not just for looks, but as far as conditioning wise, if you want to be able to wrestle, long periods of time in the ring and do certain things and acrobatics and flips and what people want to see these days, you got to be in tip-top shape, cardio-wise.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think it's best to train like an athlete.
Definitely.
And he has bodybuilding background, so...
Yeah, like when I started, like I was just like pretty much ending like my bodybuilding career. Like once I started doing matches, that's when I would say over a year, then I was finally ready for matches and stuff. So by then I was done with doing like competitions. But at the same note, like when I was doing bodybuilding competitions, I couldn't keep up like the cardio as much as I would have liked to. That was more my focus as soon as I was done with competitions. Is like, all right, I'm gonna go heavy on cardio, like Stairmaster, whatever it is your favorite cardio you do, and then you have to get like your in-ring cardio also, which is completely different than like anything you do in the gym.
In what way?
Just because you're actually lifting someone and you're running, you know what I mean? Like it's not like the only way I can compare it to is like when I used to amateur wrestle in college. Like, it's a whole nother world of cardio. Like, sometimes you would go in when you were amateur wrestling, like, I'd be weighing 5 pounds more by the time I was out of there, and I lost, like, 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, the room just gets hot. You're sweating. You're, like, physically exhausted, but you got to be able to lift someone up, or you got to be able to, like, pick a leg.
Yeah.
So, that's the only thing I could really compare it to, besides actually saying pro wrestling cardio.
Yeah.
Strength and endurance.
Yeah.
Now, so when you're in the ring, what did it surprise you at first when you first started doing live matches and things like that? Was there a learning curve? Were there things you had to kind of pick up on the fly, or things that you didn't expect before you started doing it?
I would say, as far as crowd interaction, interacting with the crowd. You kind of have to have a good balance. A lot of guys that are very experienced could, obviously wrestle a match. Give you an inside scoop here. Can wrestle a match on the fly based off of, the reaction of the crowd. Other guys, young guys specifically, want to get a whole lot of things in. I think this is cool. I want to do this. Oh, man, I saw this one move the other night, and they want to replicate it and do a lot of stuff. They're cool, but sometimes the reaction of the crowd isn't necessarily there, mainly, specifically due to how it's done. Doesn't make sense. It's kind of just like forced.
Right.
If you ever, if you're writing a paper for school or whatever, or anything, sometimes if you're writing it and you have in your mind, well, I want to say this, this, and that, and then you reread the body of the paragraph, sometimes things you insert in there don't necessarily, you're forcing too much into and it's kind of just like almost runs on, and it's like, all right, be concise, get to the point. This is just, what the hell, and I don't want to read it anymore. Well, the crowd now looks into the match and they're like, what the hell are they doing? Too much bullshit.
Yeah.
And then they don't, so you lose their attention.
Right.
Or if you do things way too fast. I can drop, little kids are fidgety, just like I am right now. I can't move my pre-workout, all right?
Right.
Kids can't sit still, so if they're screwing around or people are looking at their phones, that's an indication that you might be doing something wrong in your match. Also, if they drop something and they're playing around, they're not going to see half the crap that you're doing that's full speed.
Yeah.
So you have that. And that's what, we all come into it wanting to do a whole bunch of shit we see on TV. And you kind of, you learn over time, I think Johnny can...
I think mine was different, though. Like, he might have had different experience. Because I took a year off, and he kept wrestling. I finished up the bodybuilding thing for me, and so I came in a year behind him. So he's a year ahead of me, in wrestling years. So my first match, I remember messaging him, and I'm like, oh, I'm having my first match Sunday. And he's like, great, I'll be watching. And I was like, shit, he's going to be watching. And then I was like, he's probably going to think it's awful. So immediately I'm like, all right. And then, I send him the match, and he's like, well, that was awful. Good first match, but that was awful, and here's what you did wrong. So,
I don't think I was
yeah, you were pretty straightforward with me.
I probably said I like the idea of it, but this was shit and that was shit.
No, you literally called
No,
everybody
I was
out. You were
being
like,
nice.
this guy was terrible. This guy was terrible. Why'd you let him do that?
He
And he would
know what
pick.
he's talking about.
He picked apart everything I did. But that's what I give to people. I always say, I have people like him. I have other friends that I always reach out to. I always send my matches to him. Hey, just pick this apart for me. And the same thing that he does. He'll never tell me oh, that looks great. Because, if you're doing it right, then why does he need to tell me that looks great? I'd much rather him say, hey, why are you taking 3 steps instead of 4 steps? Or 1 or 2 steps, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Or, he'll pick apart my match and just be like, you're neglecting the crowd. Or...
I pick apart my own match, too, so I don't think I'm
Oh, yeah, no, he's not a jerk. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Sure.
I don't like when people are like, oh, you had a great match. That was awesome. I hate that.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate that because I feel either you didn't watch it, because there's always something that gets messed up. Mm-hmm. And if you don't pick it up, I'll tell you about it. I'll be like, yeah, but I did this. And then they'll be like, oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because you didn't watch. Because it was clear as day.
It's kind of like messing up in the match. Don't show, don't show real, true emotion as far as you're screwing something up because no one else knows you did.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Just keep going, cover it up. But talking about, people are like, that was a great match. And if you think you had a great match or one of the best matches, then you should probably retire because,
That's
Steve
what he
Austin,
always told me.
But
You
Steve
always
Austin,
would tell me that. I would get
damn.
back. I was like, I had a good
Yeah.
match. And you're like, well, you should retire then since you had a good match.
Yes,
Because you're never going to have one
Stone
again.
Cold Steve Austin said you should always pick apart your own match and never be satisfied for the most part. I mean, there's matches I was like, I'm content with. I'm okay with that. However, I feel like maybe here or there I picked myself apart.
Oh, you do.
I'm not gonna let anyone else know what I think. But
Well, yeah, you do. You'll send it to me, and you'll be like, it was okay. And then I'll watch it, and I'll be like, oh, that was actually really good. And then you'll be like, yeah, but I did this there. And I'm like, yeah, I saw that, but it wasn't that bad.
we're all our own biggest critics. So,
Yeah.
Sure.
so.
I think any artist is really. It doesn't matter what you are. I think
Sure.
you should always be your biggest critic, and you should always try to improve in some form or another.
Yeah.
So really, you kind of go in with a plan or an idea of what you want to do, but you really got to adapt on the fly and kind of just go with the flow. So to speak.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I would think that would go hand in hand with any type of entertainment. Music with bands. I'm sure that some of them aren't in tune sometimes with the other. And
Sure.
I don't know anything. I don't have no expertise about singing or anything. Maybe in the shower.
Yeah.
But or in the car. I'm usually screaming at people in the car.
Yeah.
Traffic. But I would assume that they could cover some things up. With that. So I mean, I think it goes hand in hand with all entertainment.
Right.
So.
So, Can you guys talk about, have you developed, characters for the ring or a certain persona that you want to get across that maybe is, how do you go about doing that and deciding, what your character, your persona is going to be like?
He likes the Young Guns
Yeah,
movies,
so-
Emilio Estevez, but he always wanted to be like Johnny the Kid. And then I was like, what the hell? You're a man. So, like, then if I, like, go to whoop your ass in the ring, I'm like, kid, like,
Easy. There's people out that call themselves the kids, man.
I don't care.
Well,
Wow, don't cut me off. But, yeah, so the Kid, and I was like, why don't you, and it rhymes with the last name you chose, which is in your family, Moran. So,
Yeah.
the man, Johnny Moran, among other guys who are the man out there.
yeah, there's a little bit of a list.
There's a list.
There's a list.
But there's only one Mint Mike Mitchell.
Breath mint he's talking about.
Never leave a bad taste in your mouth. Take that however you want. But yeah, as far as I think as far as a persona, like they say, if you ever looked into it, like they say, I magnify it 50, 60, 100 times more than what you really are. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately for me, fortunately or unfortunate, I started really moving my hands a lot. So when I get excited, I'm drinking pre-workout when I lift, which you shouldn't. It's not really healthy, but be
Put a
all over the
disclaimer
place
out
like
there.
Ric Flair. I do it in my regular everyday, and guys out there that know me can say you're really not that Italian, but you come off like it. 'Cause bippity boppity. But it's good for a camera in the ring, and just think people are really far away. You want them to see your actions. You don't want to be like a stick in mud. Always be moving. You know what I mean? Show excitement, energy. Then they can get behind you. Even promos. You don't want to sit there and be monotone, and no one's gonna want to watch this if I just talk like this the whole time. Drinking beers.
Maybe.
We're already with this dud. We don't need to.
Hey.
But yeah, as far as persona, even a gimmick correction though. However, we are part of the team, the Xer guys, and that's really my origin story of being in tag team wrestling most of my career. And Johnny here was part of it. We were exercise gurus, but on the opposite end of things, as far as in a negative spotlight as being heels. But as far as that goes, that's really how I came to as far as my mannerisms and being outgoing and just being over the top, goofy. But together, him and I on a positive note, we're the Mighty Militia. As a tag team too, just him and I, but with our other tag team partner John Redbeard, we're Xer guys.
Yeah.
So
That gives you a little bit more freedom too, when we do the extra guys and we're bad guys, and you could kind of screw up and be an ass or
Right.
just be the butt of the joke.
that's fun.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need that, I feel like. Sometimes I'm I don't want to be the good guy and have everyone get behind me.
He always wants to be the good
I do.
guy.
I always want to be the good guy,
And
but
I'm and then some guys are like, oh, when I shave it, you're going to be the baby face. And I'm just like,
he has a tough time being the good guy sometimes.
I'd rather be not so, I'm pretty vanilla as a baby face, but, I can kind of be rough around the edges and,
Moody,
not
some would
moody.
say.
I'm like a tweener.
On edge.
I think it's funny to be a jerk, but to the opposing, so the heel. If I'm kind of like how The Rock's witty with his words, he's not so PG sometimes.
Right.
He walks that fine line, or CM Punk, or even Shawn Michaels was really vanilla when he was a baby face, but I feel like he could still be a little raunchy, trying to be PG, but John Cena was always the Hulk Hogan. I'm just I can't feed into that. I can't do that. I can't believe my own bullshit with being like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm too real. So I'd rather when I'm a heel, I joke with myself or my tag team partners, and the joke's on our opponent and the crowd.
Whoever.
But when I'm a baby face, the joke's on my opponent, but the crowd's in on my joke. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we're now like instead of me laughing at everyone else and me being like that jerk in school, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's now we're all laughing at the jerk. You know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
kind of making him look like the ass. So I set myself up for it. That's how I go about it, whether it's right or wrong.
And that's, it's a fine line you got to walk nowadays too. With people, we live in such a
Super sensitive.
Yeah, everybody's super sensitive. Everybody's
Oh,
kind
believe
of
me, tell me about it.
And
Yeah.
then I don't think people seem to understand the difference between like someone's awful statement and opinion as a person, and then as a joke or as a persona.
Oh,
Like you
yeah.
said, like the Xer guys, for example, like they're gonna say things that are gonna get people riled up because
Yeah.
they're the bad guys. They're the
Yeah.
heels. So you're supposed to be saying things.
We would
that are-
constantly, like, when we were the extra guys, we would constantly do workouts, like, wrong on purpose. Like, in the videos. Like,
they weren't
yeah.
they weren't wrong.
they were
No, they
technically wrong.
Yeah.
You don't
And-
know what I'm talking about.
You're making stuff up. But we would do them wrong in, like, the videos.
He tried squatting with the bar, and he was doing a lousy job with it. So Redbeard and I decided it would be best if we went old school, okay? Train the old ham hocks, had him go against a brick wall, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Hold
about
back
this.
John Redbeard's wonderful Jeep at the time. And we just let it rip, put, pedal to the metal, and he had to hold
Leg
that
pressing.
back, It's on YouTube if you want to look it up. If you don't believe me, check it out.
That was fun.
Yeah. You stained your underwear pretty good. I'll tell you that. Mom couldn't get the stain out.
That's not nice. It's really not nice.
Well, goal number 2 in your pants isn't nice.
So you guys aren't too worried about that. In other words, you're not really like trying to overthink anything. you
Well,
say or
we
anything
never
like that.
go super offensive with anything, I would say.
Tongue in cheek.
Yeah. Like, we never take it too far. Like, we always think about stuff before we do it.
Yeah.
We don't really shoot from the hip on
I always try to think of doing stuff. I was just like, I kind of want
Yeah.
someone to be like, it was okay. Like, it
Yeah.
was all right. Like, we never went super offensive.
Yeah.
If someone was offended, then like
We apologize.
grow up. Yeah. But yeah, that's how we went about it, and we always kind of just want to attract more than just the wrestling audience. You know what I mean? As far as being funny, like, because if you can attract, I feel like if you can attract other people, besides wrestling fans, I think then, they might gain an interest in what you're doing as far as now the wrestling aspect in the matches. And you carry over what your gimmick is on video, like on YouTube with the promos, and that same energy, those mannerisms and emotions, mindset should then go into the ring now. So it's like we're exercise D-bags first and foremost, and we're wrestlers second.
I see.
Yeah.
So a lot of people I see always sharing the old school promos from like the 80s and 90s of wrestlers, the ones that are particularly funny or that stand out or whatever. So it's pretty easy if you can hit the right audience, you can gain a following of people who maybe wouldn't normally watch wrestling.
Right.
Like I haven't watched wrestling in a long time. I grew up with it though, so when I see that type of stuff, I'll still watch it. Even though I don't watch wrestling all the time, I'll see something and be like, oh, okay, that's pretty funny, or that was clever, or whatever, and it kind of puts them on my radar, so to speak. Somebody I might not have paid attention to otherwise. So obviously that might be what you're going for there. Now, you guys have wrestled all over the East Coast with different promotions. So what are some of the best experiences that you've had at different places, not just here but anywhere?
You go ahead.
You want to go first?
No, you won't get a word in
Probably my best match I ever had was against this guy's name's Hollow Wicked.
Okay.
And it was at Excellence Pro Wrestling. You can actually watch it on Powerbomb TV right now.
Oh, cheap plug.
Not saying
The
anyone
guy-
in this room
Yeah, I was gonna
runs
say-
that, but
Powerbomb TV.
Powerbomb TV.
What's that?
Let me say it again. Powerbomb
And
TV.
where can you go to watch that?
PowerbombTV.com. There you go.
Gosh,
Or you
shit.
can get the app.
There's an app. Now, where's Hollow Wicked from?
Chikara, another well-known wrestling
Yeah.
company.
It's a promotion.
And it was at Excellence Pro Wrestling. It was just a phenomenal match, and like I just remember coming back from the match and like looking at him and then staring at him. I'm like, that was really good. And he was like, yeah. He's like, honestly, I don't have any tips for you. He's like, it was really good.
Yeah, gotta retire.
I know, I gotta
You
retire.
gotta retire.
As soon as I got out of there, I'm like, I need to retire.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't like an amazing match or anything like that. But the first time I wrestled at the CYC for Big Time Wrestling that we're here promoting, my whole family was out there. That was my last time my dad got to see me wrestle before he died. And like when I was a little kid, like I always went to the CYC to see the WWF.
Yeah.
So that was a huge moment for me. I had a tryout match at SmackDown in the Wilkes-Barre Arena. And now I'm going to be wrestling in PNC Field. So like this whole little area, I've had a bunch of experiences in.
Yeah.
You?
I liked the traveling portion. Probably at the end of our trips, we probably want to kill each other. But initially the trip of it, the whole trip was fun. Going different states, being around different crowds, different wrestlers in the locker rooms, even sharing the locker rooms with some familiar faces, even like far south, like from Florida.
Yeah.
Meeting well-known wrestlers, legends in the business. I always thought that was a great time. You're living your childhood dream. At the same time, you can't be a fanboy. So,
Yeah.
Right.
I see that guy all the time. But
Yeah.
that was those experiences, and everybody has them in wrestling, whether it's local or East Coast or all across the United States. Nobody can ever take those experiences away from you and what you've learned and gone through. So, as cheesy as it is, it's kind of like, what would I want to write in my own book? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, the experiences I had were fun, and I would never, go back and do anything different. Maybe tweak it, but really, I wouldn't change too much, and just going along for the ride with my friends.
So let's look at the other side of the coin. So you have the good stuff. What were some of the ones where something went wrong, or there was a match that you're like, oh man?
I went to Memphis and pretty much got screwed out of money. So I don't know how much further I can go
That
with
seems
that.
to be common in
So
any
get
any
half
artistic
up front
business or
through
any.
PayPal. Promoters love that. I don't do much traveling anymore.
So you went all the way out there, did the
Well,
thing.
he gave us a little bit, but we got the pocket slap.
Okay.
I'm not naming any names, but King Mo of Men on Mission. Oh, I said too much. It was Nelson Frazier, which was Big Daddy V or Mabel or Viscera.
Okay.
They had a memorial show for him. Obviously, he died, so they had a show for him, and I debuted against him at House of Hardcore 1, the first one, and that was my debut. I went against Big Daddy V. I also had another match with them in Brooklyn at FWE. So, we contacted, was it Sir Mo, King Mo, whatever, doesn't matter. Mo from Men on Mission. We contacted him, and we were on a show, and we set up and arranged everything. And we went down to Tennessee, and then we kind of got the old pocket slap at the end of the night. And then we got a good amount back because, obviously we had to drive back and everything like that. It was a good thing we had a few other people with us. Dick Justice or Richard Justice, that's in Impact TNA now. He was with us. So, that was a learning experience, I'd say. But it was still a fun time.
How about you?
There's been 2 times where people actually tried to like fight us, and it's weird because I was with him like in the ring, like actually tried to like physically hurt me. So this guy, the first one, do you remember? So
he was like the size of my
hold on,
pinky.
not that one. I'm talking about the.
I was gonna say, he's gonna build this story up.
The Brotherhood or whatever the heck. Okay. So they told us we had to like brawl outside, and they didn't say anything about weapons.
Oh. Wait.
Yeah, so
so chairs come flying out.
yeah,
No,
so
no,
next
don't
thing
think
I know,
so.
next thing I know, his like back is turned and he's looking down at the other guy and like going to stomp him or punch him, and the other guy's coming behind him with a chair. So I literally, this guy wasn't that big, so I literally just ran behind him and just like engulfed him and hit him. And he fell to the ground, and I jumped on his back, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" As I'm like strangling this guy, and then he kicks his partner in the face, and I'm like, "Let's go!" And I like grabbed him, like, "Let's get in the back." And then they came in the back, and they're, "Guys, that was awesome. That was awesome."
Yeah,
and
we
I'm
gave
like,
them what they wanted.
I'm
I
like-
don't see that was a problem.
I was like, "What the hell just happened?" And then we never returned.
That's because we had an issue with hot dogs
Yeah.
at the end.
So,
We're giving them away, but
and then another
I
time.
got mad.
What was it? A triple? I don't know. It was some kind of like weird tag match. I think it was a triple threat tag match. And this older guy comes in, and I was working with the guys that like I knew, and they tagged the old guy in. This old guy comes in and he just starts smacking me like for real, like hard in the face.
Going off script.
Yeah, and then I like turned my back to like sell up, and he back chopped me, and I was like, "That's it." And I like turned, I just smacked him straight in the gut as hard as I could, and he keels, and I kick his face, and I just put him right in an ankle lock, and I'm like, "Relax, relax." And then the other guy from the other team came in, drops an elbow on me. He's like, "What the heck is going
That
on?"
was the best he's ever done in the ring. Best. Hands down. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, I know, and like he's over in the corner. He's like, "He's getting hot. He's shooting.
I
He's
wasn't going to
shooting."
stop it. Why would I stop it? It's great. It's great.
Those are really, I would say, like my only like bad experiences, like at
You
a
have
show.
them from time to time.
Yeah.
I don't think you can list any of them
Yeah.
in order as far as what's number one.
Yeah, I mean, there's like
And you-
politics and stuff like that, but like,
You brush it off.
Yeah.
And you can't get mad. Some people get mad at promoters. I mean, they should probably promote you by what your gimmick is and like maybe a little bit more communication. I think that's the biggest issue. But you know, some people get mad about how they're presented.
everybody thinks they're a superstar, and sometimes they're just not. It's the best way to put it. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, of course you should be on the poster.
I don't care.
So you mentioned you've worked with some big names. You met some interesting wrestlers over the years who've been doing it for a long time or anything. Have they passed on anything to you that was interesting, or tell you any stories that kind of stuck with you, or anything that maybe you asked them that they gave you some any advice or anything like that?
Like tons of advice, like slowing down, like just like listening to the crowd more. Depending on like who it is, like they usually always give you that advice, but like I just like when like they're like beyond like the wrestling point and they're just talking to you like me and you are talking right now, and they're just
Yeah.
talking about like their house and their kids and stuff, and they're not so much talking about wrestling, because
Right.
that's when you know it's like, all right, this isn't about like Jerry Sags from the Nasty Boys. We like literally talked to him about Notre Dame for like 20,
one
30
kid
minutes.
I thought was going to East Stroudsburg,
Yeah.
and that's where I went to school.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, you know,
And then
there's a
his-
connection there.
His daughter went to Notre Dame, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah, so
believe
then
that's
we
it.
just started talking about Notre Dame because we're big Notre Dame fans.
Yeah.
And like I like when that happens. Like Ken Anderson, like that tag match that was at the CYC, like he literally spent 20 minutes talking over like what we did wrong, what we did right, and then as soon as we were done with him, Shane Douglas pulled us in the locker room. He was like, "Hey guys, like it was great out there, and remember this," and like then
Constructive
he just
criticism.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
everybody, like usually everybody that you work with, especially if they're professional and they're an actual professional, they take time out and they make sure that you learn from the experience with them.
Yeah, I think just like you said, seeing them for the person that they really are and stuff
Yeah.
like being on TV, it's cool to see like, you know, your idols when, you know, growing up, but
Yeah.
like then when after a while you're kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, when you mesh with them and you're talking and you're BSing, I think that's meaningful as far.
Mhm.
And then like you're not afraid to ask them for advice, and it's building rapport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you do that, then you don't, you're not scared to like maybe message them on Facebook if you're friends, and
Sure.
and then ask
Yeah.
for advice and be like, hey, maybe like can you watch this match or watch this promo? I think some young guys tend to, shy from that as far as just being like, yeah, there's a respect thing as far as going up and shaking everybody's hands, but like also treat them like a human being, like a person. Don't be too hesitant or gun shy when you're talking to them. They're just gonna be like, oh, this is some greenhorn. You know what I mean? Just be like, hey, how's it going? Randomly, just talk to them throughout the night, and then, like I said, if you build a rapport, then it's easier to, if you see them again, hopefully, then you can, start talking to them about other things, and they can give you advice. And some guys are a little bit more personal than others. You just always listen. You know what I mean? That's the best thing to do.
So, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges to independent wrestlers like yourselves in terms of getting out there, getting an audience, trying to take it to the next level? What do you guys face all the time that maybe prevents you from getting to that next step, or what are the barriers in between you?
I would say it's a lot more easier to get yourself out there now, especially with all the platforms that people use. It's just using social media the right way. Like, not everybody wants to see your politics opinion.
Sure.
Some people don't really care about that. So
Yeah.
why are you putting out, and then you're going to alienate X.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like a conversation with someone. Like, you don't want to throw your politics out there. Like,
Right.
and I don't think a lot of people, especially like younger people coming up, think about what they're posting first. So it's way easier to get yourself out there, but it's also way easier to get yourself blackballed, as they say. We don't want this guy because he's over there, posting X, Y, and Z, and he curses in every post. There's a lot of promoters that if they see you cursing all the time, they have a children's show, it's a family show.
Right.
They don't want you because then that 12-year-old kid's going to want to follow you on Facebook, and he sees all these F words all the time.
Yeah.
I try to shy away from I'm the king of the reposters, I would say. And just
everything.
And just pictures of myself, and anything I'm in, I'll repost it, show it, but you also got to limit your time too. Nobody wants to especially now, nobody wants to see you talk for 5 minutes. No one cares.
I know they don't want to.
Yeah, we're here for an hour. I don't know what we're doing.
Hour.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Especially if you're doing the promo thing, no one wants to hear your promo for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He always told me keep it to 1:30 max, and then what always I like about his advice, I would ask a name about it or somebody else, and they would tell me the same damn thing. Okay. They'd be like, oh yeah, no, don't go over 1.5 minutes because who really cares about your opinion?
That's only because I heard it from that name. So
yeah.
I didn't come up with that on my own.
What do you think?
Well, take for example James Gunn. You know who that is?
Sure.
Yeah. Don't say stupid shit. don't shoot promos on Facebook and at people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what also bugs me is it's also good to show good sportsmanship, but then you're tagging people in the match that you had with them and you beat them up and just before you hated them.
Yeah.
But then it's oh, thanks, brother, and it's
what a great match we had together.
I mean, things have changed. It's not so much what it used to be, but at the same time, kayfabe. But that they say it's dead. But there's certain things that just bother me. I wouldn't do. They know how I feel about the match, good or bad or whatever. And they know whoever I win against, I've already talked to. But yeah, just watching what you say on there. Try not to get into politics.
Yeah.
Someone's always going to have an issue with anything. I just try to refrain from it because I'm I'm not going to ruin my day out over this.
And even when you're at a level, when you're a superstar and you have millions of followers and stuff like that too, I wonder just how effective some of that stuff is. I appreciate if somebody wants to use their platform to stand for something or whatever, and at the same time it's are you really just preaching to the choir? Are there really any are you going to make any big changes by doing that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Are you going to throw your whole career away
Right.
by saying saying something political or saying something dumb? you know, and not really changing anything, you know, not really making a difference. You know what I mean? Like it's a fine line. It's tough, you know, and it's a situational thing. It's like
think
certain people it works for, and other people it doesn't. You know?
I think wherever that person is at that point in time in their career, how they feel about it. Like if you're young or if you're really hitting it hard and you're going everywhere and you know you're booked constantly and you know this is where your career is going to go further, or if you're someone who's kind of pumping the brakes and then you know feeling that maybe you know it's time to go in another direction. Like I think it's how whichever, like you probably scratch your head at some guys that say make comments and it's like, well, maybe he doesn't care. You know what I mean? Like you gotta look at that and just like just let it go. You know, other guys it's like kind of just be like, just you know, John Cena doesn't say stupid shit.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times it should be like a business. Like I'm a very political person, but I don't post any of that stuff on Facebook because I feel like I'd rather promote my business and promote the arts and use the platform for that. And if somebody wants to ask me privately, then I'll have that conversation.
Someone's always going to side with you, and there's going to be a person who's always going to be against you.
Absolutely.
So I don't care to be in either situation.
Yeah.
So let me take a couple of questions and comments.
I hope we have some doozies.
I'm sure we do. If any of my coworkers are on there, we're not answering those.
We always get, you know, I think at least 20 to 25% of the comments are usually like somebody busting somebody's balls that's on here.
Sure,
So
I'll go with it. I don't care.
One of our camera guys.
I bust chops all the time, so
is nodding his head in agreement there. I'm sure Gerard agrees with that too. Tim from the Rail Riders, who helped us set up this conversation, so thank you to Tim. Your favorite wrestler that you guys worked with?
Oh, that we worked with? Oh, man.
Mine's Johnny Moran.
Is it independent or
Just name someone.
doesn't matter?
I don't think it matters.
You're making this a big ordeal.
John West. I've wrestled.
He's an
thousands of
indie guy
Yeah.
From the Wild Samoans. Cheap plug.
Yeah.
In Allentown.
He's somebody I just had like chemistry off the bat with, and like, I could be babyface, he can be heel, he can be heel, I could be babyface. Doesn't matter, whichever way we go with it.
He's putting you over, John. So you know what you gotta do. You gotta put him over. All right, it's not easy. I don't know if I have a particular person. I've had good experiences with a lot of guys. Like when we were in a match with Shane Douglas, you were on his team. I went against him. I thought he was really cool to work with. He cooperated. Like some guys just kind of want to go in there and get their stuff and do just them.
Oh, right.
Which is fine, but then it's like sometimes it might take away from some of the younger talent. And again, like going back, I said a lot of the young talent like to get their stuff in. But Shane was all like cool about everything, you know what I mean? And he brought us in the back afterwards and like for a good amount of time explained, you know, some of the things we could have fixed and everything like that. Big Daddy V was cool to work with. The Rock and Roll Express. We got to we both share the experience of wrestling with them. They were like on a whole other level, like such old school mentality as far as like we were in Virginia and the crowd's just so very different in the South compared to the Northeast where we're very hostile. It's just like how we drive, you know, all over the place and they expect a lot and there's a lot of rage. South, easy going. I think I didn't do too much in that match. I did a bear hug, and people were going nuts, you know? So, and I body slammed Ricky Morton, 60 years old.
Oh, man.
Dad, that could have been you. But it was Ricky Morton. I didn't know how to handle it. But I pinned him. He kicked out. So, good experiences with the names.
Yeah. Stephen Laeri, I'm sorry if I butchered that.
He did.
Johnny the Man Moran and Mike Mitchell, two awesome local wrestlers.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
We have
I agree.
a few like just just praiseworthy comments. So
Oh.
I'll feed your egos a little bit.
Alright.
I'll read it.
I was gonna say, were they really watching the same show?
Jerry Manley, Mike was a twig in high school. Now he's a beast. He
Ah.
and GK wrestled in the backwoods of Ransom.
Jerry Manley was a beast before in a band,
Yeah.
and then he actually slimmed down. So him and I, we're like neck to neck now. Like he's looking pretty good himself.
Okay.
He doesn't have the typical dad bod, which is good.
He doesn't have the dad bod.
That's what I'm working
I can't
on.
wait
you
until
go.
you have a dad bod.
Dad bod.
You gotta become a dad first.
Yeah.
Sean Grassy says, "Is beer on your training schedule?"
No, it's not.
Is it on Sean Grassie's schedule? Huh?
Johnny, my co-host who couldn't make it tonight, he said, "Those punks are lucky I'm not there tonight. I'm working on my Stone Cold Stunner."
Oh boy.
Nice. I had Stone Cold ET stun me. I don't know if you guys know who he is.
Yeah.
He's a turd.
He's a turd.
Yeah, fed me Reese's Pieces and then stunned me, and I couldn't keep them in my mouth. Everywhere in the ring.
Another
Not a highlight
shout out for Powerbomb TV
Yeah.
from Casey Walters.
Oh, there you go.
C-Dub.
Sean Grassy, you need to go Roddy Piper with the beer, like on Snuka. Okay. That's too many references for me.
Pissers. That's what
Yeah.
they are.
Let's see. Andrew Kettle says that you can still lay the smackdown in M3.
That guy's delusional.
Kevin Rodriguez says, "How important is fitness in the wrestling business?" We should talk about you guys' fitness regimen and
Sure.
kind of keeping up.
Sure.
On what do you have special diets or anything like that?
Well, he has the bodybuilding background. I went
Yeah.
to school specifically for it.
Okay.
You in the wheelhouse of it, for
Yeah.
the most part. But
It depends on like what I'm trying to do at the time. Like I'm not really bulking right now. I have a girlfriend, so like I gained a little bit of weight, so now I'm trying to go back on like the
he's
keto
like the
diet.
honeymoon phase.
Yeah, so I gained some weight. Christina Marie, hi. There you go. She got her cheap plug in too.
Yep.
She can outbench him.
She can. She's going to the Arnold this year, so. But right now, like I'm just doing kind of a keto thing where I'm eating just meat and greens,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the gym like 6 days a week. I do 20 minutes of cardio, which is usually the Stairmaster. I like to go in the sauna at the end. He likes to go in the sauna first, which throws me off.
Yeah, I like to stretch.
My
get good
head gets
sweat.
woozy. I don't know what happens.
Your head's always woozy.
Clutch Adams did that.
Oh, hizzy. Yeah, I like to go in the sauna first, but I mean that's just because I ache,
Yeah.
I would blame it mostly on just some of the sports I did when I was younger, just being reckless, lifting. I probably should have listened to those old guys that were like, "You don't have to lift too heavy," and I'm like, "You're old, shut up." But you know what though?
Yeah.
They're right, and I tell young kids that, and they like go cross-eyed looking at me. But my shoulders start to hurt every so often. My age isn't going down; it's going up. I gotta watch with that. So I do different things. I do things differently now. And I'm kind of like that old guy at the gym. I go in the sauna and I warm up, and I have to stretch like an hour before I work out. My wife thinks I work out like an old lady. She'll sit in the car for 45 minutes after she did her workout. And I'll tell you what, she does a whole bunch of jump rope, and she does the circuit training, and then like she's beat up and she's done with it, and I come strolling in after. She's like, "Are you just getting started?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "You're ridiculous. I'm gonna go to the grocery store now." She's like, "You let me know when you're done." And I was like, 45 minutes. But I have to do things differently compared to when I was younger. I just walk in, it could be cold and just be like, start lifting. Now I tweak something and I'm done for like 2 weeks. People are like, what the hell happened to you? You know, used to be, and I'll be like, can't lift, shoulder screwed up. You know what I mean? Like, I have difficulty gaining weight. Like, I try to maintain it a lot. I can't lift as heavy, but diet, like, people want to know, like, abs. Like, abs are made in the kitchen. And I, used to be a personal trainer and CrossFit and all that jazz. So I was always heavily involved with it. But, as far as what I do, and could be different from everyone else, but, people ask me advice, and it's mostly generate towards, like, what their goals are. You know what I mean? He's got different goals than I do. So I'm not going to so much give my opinion. I'll hear what he wants to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's what you want out of it.
Yeah. So really, it's everybody's different.
Like for you, for instance, you probably don't care really to get so macho, but you're like, oh, I have some pounds here or there, or this or that, or my back hurts. I want to improve that, and it's specific to your needs or wants, and that's what comes down to.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you're not telling everybody to get
or even
get
like
swole,
diet
so to
tips.
speak.
Like I hate telling, like, when people ask me about diets, and it's like, if you specifically say diet, it's like in the form of like pills or supplements or like specific things. I think that's horse crap.
Everybody wants a quick fix,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they never want to like sit and like actually figure out what's going on in their
eat
diet.
whole foods. Eat normal. Don't
Yeah.
if you don't know what the hell you're reading on the back of the label, don't eat it.
It's a science fiction movie.
You know,
back there.
if dairy gives you the craps, don't eat it. If red meat gives you cramps and you feel bloated, probably shouldn't eat it. You want a punch in the mouth? You can eat that. Kick in the arse too.
Mick Drake says Johnny's hair game is on point.
Awful.
Oh, thank you, Mick Drake.
Don't encourage them.
Sonny Kiss says she agrees, and I miss my boys.
Miss you
Sonny's
too,
in
Sonny.
Lucha Underground,
Yeah,
Okay.
so.
watch Sonny on Lucha Underground.
Yep.
We have people spamming GoFundMe links. That's always good.
Go fund me. How about that for a change? I have a mortgage. You don't. You live in your mother's basement, you dork. I'm joking.
No, he's not. He means that from the heart.
From the heart.
So, as you could tell by my shirt, which I want to shout out to Jason Reedmiller, one of our photographers at Geek Art Photo. He just got this made. His photography of action figures was just featured at San Diego Comic-Con by Marvel, so that was pretty cool. I got picked out of thousands of submissions, so shout out to him. I'm super obsessive about comic books and comic book movies, and what they're doing with the characters, and I have strong opinions about all this stuff that probably no one else gives a shit about but me, and people like me. And I see the very same kind of passion in WWE fans and wrestling fans who are obsessive about how they think things are going, or how what direction they're going in, and that kind of stuff. So I want to ask you guys, because you're actually in the business and doing this stuff. What do you think is the current state of wrestling? And that applies to not only independent wrestling, but the wrestling everybody sees on TV every week, the WWE and stuff like that.
I feel like there's a lot more platforms now. You know what I mean? There's so much wrestling. Like, you can literally watch it 24/7 if you really wanted to.
I think that's difficult though. At the same time,
Oh yeah, to maintain
subscribing
it.
to a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm still like old school. Some people can probably tell, like, from what sometimes some things I do, but I think it's very demanding now as far as the state of wrestling. Like, to what it's very different. Like, wrestling evolves just like everything. Everyone's got to adapt to it, good or bad. There's a lot. It's a lot more. It's picked up, fast pace. Guys like Shawn Michaels in the day, pretty much, laid that foundation, and then it just went, from there on, and now you have guys like Finn Balor. But the indies, they're doing a lot more, I think, high risk stuff, which is great if you have health insurance.
But if
Yeah.
you don't, you should.
But a lot of but then to their benefit, a lot of the guys in wrestling, they're young, They don't have any assets. They have nothing that's holding them down, and they're able to get out there, which is great. I don't let anything hold you back. You know what I mean? Sky's the limit. But same time, that's what's going to help you get out there and be in all these promotions, and just you kind of have to, grin and bear the hard or the tough times in order to get yourself out there, which means, like, you're not going to make a lot of money in wrestling.
Sure.
You got to put yourself out there, like just any forms of entertainment, whether you're, an underground band, or anything like that. So, he said with the platforms that are out there, they're out there. You just got to make the most and the best out of it. And so,
You agree with that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like it's picked up like way faster. Like selling isn't like the biggest thing. I feel like a lot.
I'm more into the storytelling.
Yeah.
Why, like making sense of the match. Why would I do this to do that then? Going backwards to go forwards. I like to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Slow it down.
So you're not the guys watching WWE every week and kind of picking apart like, oh, Vince McMahon's doing this or that, and I don't like it.
No,
blah, blah, blah.
no. I just like if I'm gonna sit down and watch wrestling, I just want to watch it and enjoy it. And like if they're pushing this guy that everybody hates, I don't care. I just want to sit and watch it.
Well, I watch and I see different aspects of it, which are
that
like,
too.
oh, like people don't pick up on it, but like, well, that's pretty cool, and how he went about this or that. Like, you know what I mean? To a lot of other people, that was irrelevant. They just want to see the big spot.
Right.
I'm just like, yeah, but how
So
did
you're looking at how it applies
how did
to you.
How did he get there?
Yeah.
Why did he do that?
I
You know what
remember
mean? Different.
I watched the pay-per-view and then I messaged you. I'm like, watch like 3 minutes of this match, and I'm like, what would you steal if we worked each other? And then you like knew immediately what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I was like, I don't know.
And it wasn't like a big move or anything. It was just like the small like
subtle, but there is a difference maker.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it like it's something I never saw before, and I was like, oh, we should so steal that. And then like next
It's
week,
not stealing; it's just borrowing.
yeah, I saw like 4 people do it on like 4 different shows, and I was like, we're not gonna do that anymore. It's been done.
You can recycle things in wrestling. I think it's like
you gotta
every,
wait like a year now, though.
A year?
At least.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit longer than that. I've been doing more Mantar things.
Oh, Mantar.
Yeah.
Good study.
You
I
should-
like Duke the Dumpster Josie. He's
would-
my
yeah,
favorite.
Yeah.
To
Sometimes I
steal
do red beard things.
from. Yeah.
Not so ethical, but I'm joking.
See, here's the personal stuff I was talking about. So,
Yeah.
So Jordan Michael says,
Oh, no.
ask Moran, why did he eat the entire fruit tray at a party he bought as a gift?
Exactly.
Fiber.
Yeah, so
Have you ever smelled them?
sometimes I go to friends' parties, and I don't want to come empty-handed.
Yeah.
So I stop by a grocery store.
Okay.
And I so happen to, whenever I go in the grocery store, buy what I want to eat. So I bought this like fruit boat thing, and I opened it, and next thing I know, it was gone. And no one else came around, so I ate the entire fruit boat.
Losers,
That's what
weepers.
he's getting at. And he was a little upset because it was his party and he didn't have any fruit.
Joe Ahern says, best wrestler in the business today.
Oh.
Who do you
Today?
think?
Oh, he's asking my opinion?
Who do you
Nah, Shawn Michaels. He's not in the business today. He's always
Yeah.
going to be the best. But you know what, though? There's a handful, because a lot of the guys I'm going to list are all, like Shawn Michaels in the day. You have AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Ziggler, a lot of those type of wrestlers.
Yeah.
I try to not emulate, but like coincidentally have the same style, just because we liked, you could tell we liked the same kind of wrestlers, even like back to like Macho Man and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Yeah.
Was that Mania 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the best matches.
I mean, my personal picks would probably be Steve Austin, Samoa Joe. I was a big Ric Flair fan. I liked Arn Anderson. I liked Tully Blanchard.
You liked wrestling. Look,
Yeah.
we got it.
Yeah.
You're naming a lot of guys.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know. Those were the guys that always stood out to me. Rick Rude always stood out to me. I liked a lot of bad guys.
Yeah.
I was a big bad guy liker.
Which is funny because you like being the good guy.
Yeah.
Can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
And I would always buy like the bad guys before I would buy the good guys, like toy wise too.
Yeah, I had all those the first big figures that they put
Oh,
out.
the big
Those were,
rubber
like,
ones,
they had
the
the big
LJNs,
rubber, and they
yeah.
had like the metal underneath.
Yeah.
So they, like,
Hillbilly
those things,
Jim.
you could beat somebody to
Oh, you
death
could
with.
kill someone with one of those.
Yeah.
I did one of the first things I did was I got the wrestling ring and immediately broke it because you're slamming
Oh,
guys
yeah.
onto it,
Yeah.
and you immediately broke like right
Destroyed,
through it.
cracked.
it was so huge. They have obviously learned their lesson since then. The action figures now.
Yeah,
are-
much smaller. They're plastic,
Yeah. They're
not
they're
giant rubber metal giants.
So we want to, before we wrap up, we want to make sure that we plug the hell out of this this big time wrestling show at PNC Field. So
Correct.
obviously the we posted about it right away when they announced it, not only because of the big names attached to it, but the fact that you see
outside.
wrestling outside and on a baseball field. So does that change your approach in terms of how you're going to do what you guys do?
What's cooler than that though? Like that's how I
Right.
look at it.
Yeah.
That's cool. The environment, the stadium seating. I just think it's such a great venue to have a wrestling event at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It just-
you're not gonna have that experience again in this area, pretty much. You know what I mean? Unless they come back.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is the first time they're doing it there, so this is your big first chance to go to it. How it's different for us is the crowd noise is gonna go up, and you're not gonna hear it as clearly. So, like when we
Oh,
do
right.
something
It's
big,
not, it's gonna be the same when he does something.
yeah, it's
Quiet.
gonna be. But that would be the only difference, really, for us and how we would preparate. I would say.
I just I mean, any type of match I would try to do my best, whether I'm going all out
Yeah.
or I'm like keeping some left in the tank, picking my poison. But whatever I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to do efficiently, and try not to obviously get hurt. Be smart about things. But obviously a big show like this, everybody and anybody involved, they're gonna go out there and try to do a little bit of extra something
A little
special.
extra for
Yeah.
everybody
You know
there.
what I mean? You don't see everything on Monday Night Raw, but when Mania comes
pay-per-view.
around, they get crazy. But I'm excited, just as excited as Johnny here.
Yeah.
And, I would imagine that all the fans are excited too.
Yeah.
And Kevin Nash is going to be there, and Mick Foley.
Yeah.
Billy
Same.
Gunn.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of other names that like obviously the headline would be, Mick Foley and Kevin Nash, but you got Billy Gunn, James Ellsworth, the Sandman, Darren Young, Emma, Robbie E, the Patriot,
Johnny Moran and Mike Mitchell.
Yeah,
Right.
those guys. They're
all
pretty
the,
big.
the
I
names that immediately come to mind.
hear. Darren Young.
Yep. There's, it's great to now. How much do those guys get involved? Are they just kind of hanging out and doing a couple small things, or I guess it depends on where they are on the bill. and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I
would,
feel like
I would say though, besides whatever they do, they're very influential. Whether in the back,
Sure.
helping the talent in the locker room. Like I said before, meeting
Shane.
very people know these guys.
Sure.
So they're household names. They know a little bit of something,
Right.
and they're helpful in the locker room, and they do whatever is best to help everyone else out.
Yeah.
It's not about them.
Yeah.
I would say.
It's funny too. We were talking about it earlier, and I guess this is the other side of what we were talking about. Mick Foley, I think, has done so much to kind of transform his career in a way. Like talk about certain things, not necessarily political things, but like standing up for certain things. Like he's a big feminist, and he wrote a bunch of books that people really enjoyed, and he's kind of built himself an audience outside of wrestling too.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to get not just people who are going to show up because like, oh wow, it's wrestling in a baseball field, I'm going to show up to that and see what that's like, But I think you're going to get those fans too who are kind of like, maybe haven't followed wrestling in a while, but like him for other reasons and things like that. So it's, there are good ways to take your celebrity and use it to promote things that you might like and stuff like that. And I think Mick Foley is a great example of that. I'm actually looking forward to going just to talk to him and stuff like
Yeah.
that too. But I've been to some small independent stuff, and I think people need to give it a chance and check it out. I think people are so afraid of the unknown, in the same way that we have bands on here all the time, and it's so hard to get people to actually come out. They're like, oh, this sounds great. They did a great interview. I really like their music. But then actually getting them in the show is like the tough part.
Yeah, that's where you get the full experience, though.
Exactly.
If you don't go to the actual show, you're not going to get the experience. I mean, you could watch a video later on, but you're not going to get that feel of being there, experiencing all that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you really want. So make sure you get your tickets.
Absolutely. The full details here. Saturday, August 11th, at PNC Field and Music. Live wrestling event with a meet and greet as well with the stars. You can meet them. You can meet these guys too.
Yeah.
As well, right? You guys are going to be hanging out. So the gates open at 5 p.m. And the meet and greet and stuff that starts at 7. So you got plenty of time to check things out and everything. And the ringside and individual tickets, as well as family 4-packs, are available now at Ticketmaster. You can go to PNC Field's page, the Rail Riders page, rather, and
You can
and order
even
the tickets now.
privately message us.
Yes,
We're selling tickets also.
So if you need, we have them.
Yeah.
Have 'em.
Slide in our DMs, as they say.
Yes,
Yes.
That's what they say, right? Slide
I
in our
guess. I
DMs.
don't know who they are, but
Sliding in our DMs.
yeah, no, it's just I think for Northeast PA, I think it's really good, and even have an outlet like this
Yeah.
to promote things. I think that's great. Powerbomb TV, now Backbreakers Training Center is affiliated with Fight TV, so they're on that as well now, and they're set up to do.
Yeah, there's so many
big
other
things.
outlets now that you didn't have maybe 10 years ago.
And that
or so,
and that
you know?
those are just great opportunities. I'm looking forward to seeing what wrestling's going to be like in this area next couple of years. It's off. I think it's off to a great start, and I'm looking forward to it just blooming.
Yeah. There's a lot of wrestling in this area. I mean, you have PPW that I wrestle for. They run the third Saturday of every month. They always have a name that comes in, one or two at least. And there's another great show that if you're into local wrestling, you can go to and see.
Now, where do
Sure.
those guys usually do?
Hazleton.
Okay.
Hazleton, Pennsylvania.
And the sanctuary looks really cool.
Yeah, they do more of like, it's like stunt fighting.
Okay.
There's more of an acting process to it. You see more of the backstage. There's a lot of like, they film the skits in front of everyone.
Okay.
They choreograph whatever kind of fight they're going to do in front of everyone. So like you see all the backstage stuff. So if you're not into the really seeing like all the backstage of it,
Yeah.
that might not be for you, but
Sure.
you get to see the full experience, like how the show is put together. The best way I could compare it to is something like a Lucha Underground,
Okay.
like that, like more of like the show aspect, not so much about any kind of wrestling or anything. It's more of like the fight and the show,
Okay.
Theatrical.
theatrical.
We'll finish up with a couple more just comments quickly. This is the Soul Taker. So proud of you guys. So happy to see you so successful with this, Hank.
Oh,
Hank, where the hell have you been? I miss you.
we miss Hank.
Let's grab a beer sometime, huh?
Yeah.
I think the last time I saw Hank, I was sipping, what's that, Crown Royal?
Oh God. Oh
And then it's
God.
like Shed or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I know.
Come back, Hank. We
Come
miss you.
back.
Chrissy McNamara says, my 9-year-old daughter is excited to go. See, it really is a family.
There you go.
Well, you and your
Thanks for
9-year-old
coming.
daughter, come on up to us. Don't be bashful or shy. Come and say hi.
Yeah, say you saw him on the NEPA Scene podcast. Gerard, can I tag you in with anything else? Is there anything that you want to add to our conversation tonight, or anything like that?
Who all is on the show?
You just gave it.
What are the people that people at home would know of that are going to be appearing at the Rail Rider Stadium?
Sure. Again, Kevin Nash, Mick
Mick
Foley,
Foley.
Emma, Sandman, Badass Billy Gunn,
Darren Young,
Darren Young,
James Ellsworth,
James Ellsworth.
and that's it, I think.
No, there's a few others.
Oh, the Patriot.
The Patriot, yeah. The Patriot was there last Sunday.
And we threw out the
throw-
opening pitch.
Yeah. Some of it was ugly, but we got through it.
One of us didn't make the plate. I don't know who that could be.
I have a good arm. That's all I'm saying.
There's no video.
She told me there's video, and I'm going to get it. There's always video. But yeah, I mean, I just think that this is a great lineup for a show that's going to be at PNC Field. You couldn't have asked for a better venue.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm just hoping everybody enjoys themselves and they get the best, the very best out of it.
And pay attention to the up and comers, the independent wrestlers. They work really hard, just like all the independent bands that we have on here, and all the other artists. I think you guys all offer something, and you're all everybody is an up and comer at some point. Everybody is new to this at some
start
point.
somewhere.
So, yeah, exactly. So good luck to you guys. I hope that this is a good, successful event for you guys.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
and,
And
know,
to you
it was an
too.
opportunity.
Thank you for having us
us
on.
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. Thank you guys for coming on, and thank you all for tuning in tonight. And let's also give a shout out to Powerbomb TV as well, because they're based in Wilkes-Barre as well, but they film stuff from all over, Philly and beyond. All kinds of independent wrestling, all the stuff that you can't get anywhere else, you can't find on television and stuff like that. You should go and check them out. It's a really cool streaming service. And Gerard, if you want to give any more details as to that, but it's a really cool thing. You should check it out. It's powerbomb.tv. Put that in your web browser and check it out. And if you enjoyed the show, you had fun tonight, you enjoy what we're doing here, please share this and let people know about it, and let people know about what these guys are doing. And make sure you follow them on Facebook. They both have Facebook pages.
Yep.
So thank you so much, guys, for coming on.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next Wednesday.